We love our sponsors like Foothill Transit. Visit them online at foothilltransit.org. Sponsor us and we'll promote you on the show too. Email info@crowncitynews.com to learn more. For the Morning Buzz, we have some issues going on with Russia. Is Russia with us or against
not?
us?
Well, that's
Are they with Syria?
No,
What's going on here?
Yeah. Well, they're definitely with Syria. We know that. The question is, were they aware of the chemical attack that took place or not? It happened on a base where they were there.
Right.
So we'll see. I have an opinion about that.
Right. So Scott McAfee joins us.
He's going
to discuss that.
Yeah,
Good to be with you guys.
Thank you. So what are your thoughts?
Thoughts on Syria? Well, Syria, in general, is a mess. Let's face it. I think we could all agree on that. You have multiple factions fighting there. We have Assad and his regime, which is sponsored, obviously, by Iran and Russia. You have the Free Syrian Army, which, again, who are these people? When I was doing a little investigating, it's like, okay, these people want Sharia law. Are they the good guys in this conflict? And then you have, to add more to the mess, you have ISIS. So it's kind of like, whose side are we on? And ultimately, as if Rex Tillerson, what he said is correct, where they want to remove Assad, then what? I think that's my biggest question.
Yeah, that is the big question, that if he was removed, we have a bigger mess. So the question is, what is the transition? The question is there a way to predict what happens now?
Well, the answer is probably not. And I think the only thing we have to look back on is history. So when we look at what happens when we remove bad guys in the Middle East, well, we've got examples in Iran. We have examples in Libya. We have examples in Egypt, where we remove that individual. What do we end up with? The Muslim Brotherhood. That was a disaster.
Chile.
Exactly. Multiple examples when we get involved. And at the very least, anytime we have any involvement at all, it's going to cost money. And the most valuable American treasure of all, which is American lives, potentially. So,
well, what I don't understand is this: isn't that exactly why the Obama administration took the stance that it did in terms of not allowing that red line to be crossed, and then not making the decision to go in, as Donald Trump urged him not to do? So wasn't that why we didn't continue and we were focused on domestic growth of the economy?
Right.
And whatnot?
Well, I think that's probably true, but why draw that red line at all? The point is you can't draw the red line and then do nothing, right?
Is it kind of like a neener?
Well, kind of, yeah. And what that shows is, okay, the United States doesn't stand for anything. Right. If they're going to say something and I back it up, I'd almost rather have somebody say nothing and then, in this case, implement a little bit of force. Look, I'm all down for bombing some bad dictators. But at the end of the day, what are we going to actually accomplish in the end? And I think that's where there's kind of a mystery. Tillerson has come out and said Assad needs to go, and that's fine. Assad's a bad guy, but again, are we going to end up with something worse? Because that could potentially happen.
Well, what you don't know is worse, and what we know is that we don't know.
Right.
And that is, I think, why we were not actively removing, and that's why originally President Trump said that we shouldn't be removing Assad. The issue is that as he becomes more educated, he is more willing, it seems, to make a label that he is a criminal and a pretty bad
But let's
person.
go back to the Russia connection.
Yeah.
Right.
And are they laying in bed together? And
Well,
how long
of
have they
course
been
are.
in bed together?
Of course they are. The Russians were on the base where the chemicals were stored, and the Russians were responsible for making sure that those chemicals were removed. It's impossible to argue that they didn't know.
The posturing of Russia is interesting, though, too, as far as not meeting with Tillerson, kind of stepping back, putting his underling in to have that meeting. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, Russia's doing what's in Russia's best interest, obviously, and Putin is a nationalist. So the things that he's doing is the things that he feels that will promote Russia's best interest. So obviously he is allied with Assad at this point. And it's kind of interesting because Trump's taking heat from, wait a minute, you say we weren't going to get involved, and now you're saying we are going to get involved. Well, I think it was Gandhi who said, look, I'm loyal to truth, not to consistency. And the fact of the matter is, when you do become the president, you do get intelligence and information that the rest of us don't have. Mm-hmm. So I'm confident that Trump will do the right thing inevitably. I trust I feel a lot better having Trump in there than Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
So.
Scott McAfee, will you join us for another Morning Buzz?
Absolutely,
Please.
can't wait.
Thanks so much.
Coming up, we will be meeting another new little creature that hopefully will find a home with you.
I know, it's just so cute. And it's the CCN Piper's Pet segment, and Piper Wood is bringing in a furry little friend, and we've got to find her a home. That's next.